Okay, so seniors, you're crossing off chapters 10, chapters 14 from your review. On cardiovascular system, chapters 11 through 13, you're crossing out 53, 54, 57, 58, 59. On respiratory system, chapter 15, cross out 61 through 65. Digestive system, chapter 16, cross out 68, 69. The diagram number 74. On the back page, the diagram number 75. And then do urinary system, you're going to do those three questions, know those. Reproductive system, chapter 19, cross that off. Now, back to cardiovascular system, blood typing. Here's how it works. You have surface antigens, and then you have antibodies that protect you from the foreign invaders, things that aren't supposed to be there. If you're an A blood type, what I did was I just kind of drew a circle like a cell and put A like the surface antigen. B has B on the surface, and AB has A and B. O has neither. All right? So the antibodies available are whatever we can have, anti-A, anti-B. So if we're type A, we can't have anti-A antibodies because they'll attack our own cells. So we can only have anti-B. If you have B blood type, you can only have
anti-A.
and if you're AB, you can have
Your AB, you can have nothing. You get nothing.
and if you're an O blood type, then you can have anti-A, you can have anti-B because you have neither of those surface antigens on your blood cells. Okay. Now there is another thing to think about, the Rh factor. So you either have it or you don't. If you're positive, then I just put little plus marks. That means you are positive for Rh factor. If you're negative, there's nothing on it. So an A positive person, they can't have anti-A because they're A blood type. They can have anti-B, and they can't have anti-Rh because they have the plus. All right. Right. B negative, so they can have anti-A. They can't have anti-B because they have B, and they can have anti-RH. All right. So in terms of donors and acceptors, what you need to think about is with the donor, just think about the surface antigens. Okay, what's on the surface? What has the potential to get attacked by the recipient's body? So the recipient, all we're going to think about is what are the antibodies. So first example is AB positive. Can we donate to B negative? Well, B negative would have anti-A, would not have anti-B. It would have anti-RH, though, because there's no plus. There's no anti-RH, or there's no RH. So that means AB positive would be a problem for two reasons. It's got A on it, and it's got positive. Neither one of those works. Okay, so AB positive really is not a very good donor, but it's a great acceptor because AB positive has no anti-A, no anti-B, and no anti-RH. So it can accept from all blood types, making it the universal acceptor. O negative, on the other hand, has anti-everything, so that's not a good recipient, but it's a great donor because there's nothing, no surface antigens to attack. All right, and then I did another example. This is the third hour example. Um, so what we did was we took this scenario at the bottom, and I just put all the blood types down over here on the bottom right. And so an A positive person what blood types can they donate to? And so we listed all those. We listed what they have in terms of their antibodies. So A positive would have anti-B. Okay, there's no anti-B on this, so that's good. We could donate to that. A negative would be a problem because it has anti-RH. They have anti-RH antibodies. B positive people would have anti-A antibodies, which are a problem. B negative would have anti-A, which is a problem. They also have anti-RH, which is a positive problem because it's positive. AB positive people, no antibodies, so that's cool for this. AB negative is anti-RH, so that's a problem. And O positive, anti-A is a problem. O negative, anti-A is a problem, also anti-RH. So that's it for the blood types. Now, I want to talk about numbers uh, 55 and 56. Let's do 56 first together. Number 56. So what is the difference between an artery and a vein? You guys, 56. Artery and vein, what's the difference? Trent? Okay. It does, that's true. Eddie? Yes, arteries take blood away from the heart. Veins take blood to the heart. Okay, so there's your answer for 56. Just did it for you. Arteries take blood away from the heart. Arteries take blood away from the heart. Veins take blood back to the heart. That's your answer for 56. And then this is actually going to answer 55 and the diagram for 60. So we have 4 chambers to our heart, and I drew a heart just like it looks like in real life in RL. Just kidding, I made one of the fake Valentine's Day type hearts. But it works because we have 4 chambers, and you got to think of it as the patient in terms of left or right, not your left or right, so opposite our left and right. So there's a top right chamber for the patient we call the right atrium. Yep, so that's letter D on your diagram down there, by the way. So if you're filling in the diagram of the actual diagram, the heart looks more like the heart. That's helpful. And then below the right atrium is the right ventricle. So that is AB on the diagram. Now at the person's top left is going to be their left atrium. So that would be AE. Below that is the left ventricle, which would be BE. So those are the 4 chambers, and they're all written up here and labeled. So the blood in our body is taking stuff our cells need, and it's taking away stuff that they don't need. Waste. Okay, so think in terms of gases. One of the easiest way to think. We take oxygen to the body, to the cells, so that they can operate. We pick up CO2 that is a waste product by our cells. Okay, so as the blood is coming back towards the heart, so the blood is in the body, it is very high in CO2 and very low in oxygen. Now, common misconception, if you ever heard red and blue blood, that's not true. There's only red blood, right? The appearance of some of your veins closer to the surface can appear blue, but they're not. It's red. Um, but anyway, so blood in the body is low in CO2, or sorry, high in CO2, low in O2, and it's going to come back by the main vein, which is the vena cava. Now we can break this up into 2 parts. So the vena cava, my artistic skills are horrible, I realize that, but we have part of the vena cava coming in from the top, so returning blood from our head, neck, chest, arms area, okay, returning blood to the heart. We call that the superior vena cava above, right? Makes sense. That's letter B on your diagram. And then returning blood to the heart from our lower part of our body is going to be the inferior vena cava, which is AC on the diagram. All right, so this is going to bring the blood back to the heart to the right atrium. Okay, so we are here, right atrium. So body, vena cava, right atrium. All right, then it's going to go down to the right ventricle. And again, so this is high in CO2, low in O2. Where's a spot in the body it makes sense to go to next? The lungs. Then we can drop off the CO2, pick up some oxygen, and go through the cycle again. So in order to get to the lungs, which is the next step, it's got to go out from the heart, so it's going to be an artery, and anything having to do with lungs we call pulmonary. So this is pulmonary artery, which is AD on your diagram, AD pulmonary artery. Okay, so after we do the gas exchange at the lungs, they're going to come back to the heart, so it's going to be a vein. Again, still dealing with the lungs, so it's still pulmonary, pulmonary vein, which is letter C on your diagram. And this is going to come back now to the left atrium. And now we've got oxygen, all right? Can't see that one underline over there, oh well. And then it's going to go to the left ventricle, and then it's going to go out our main artery from the heart, which is called the aorta. It actually arches around up here, so they call it the aortic arch, but aortic arch, aorta, just know that. Same thing. That's letter A on your diagram. And then it goes back to the body to repeat the process again. Okay? So that does your diagram, and that does number 55. So what I want you guys to do now, you got a couple things to do for the rest of the hour. One, you can just work on completing the stuff on here because I want you to have this done tomorrow. Tomorrow I want to give you points for doing it, and then I'm going to give you all the answers to make sure you're right. Okay? And then we'll be ready for Wednesday. Now, some of you also have to do your reassess because you didn't reassess on Thursday. Actually, probably several of you. Anybody that needs to improve learning target grades, we need to get ready to do that.